Well, you're sitting on the famous Caitlin or Miliana's birthday party. LOL. Table. I thought, you know what? You spend that much money at what's that place called where you buy all the party gifts? Party Time or whatever.
The party store.
Party City. Party City USA. This tablecloth is like $100. And so I figured we would get our money's worth out of it.
$100?
I don't know, but
Or 100 cents.
if you ever
One of the
walk in
two,
there,
Joel gets confused.
Okay.
if you ever go in there, you always think everything's so cheap, and then you load this cart up with party gear.
I'm pretty sure you could get that like Oriental Trading for 2 cents.
But you walk out and it's like you never get out of there for under $100, and you're like 100 pieces of penny candy or whatever and stuff.
You're not
like
supposed
that.
to bring your kids with.
So, anyways, this is CFR Rep Fits podcast number 3. Title of tonight's topic is going to be staying in your lane. It's one that's been close to my heart for like 3 weeks now. Dave and I, behind the scenes, just so you guys know, have been going, I wish we could just like explain what it's like to stay in your lane. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And
that's why you brought me.
So, anyways, today or tonight,
explained to?
I guess so.
tonight we have Dave Crenshaw here. Say hi, Dave.
Hello.
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 We have Tina Crenshaw.
I'm
my
the,
favorite.
just so you know, as of today, I'm the 6,332nd ranked athlete in the world.
Nice. Way to go.
Ooh, in the world.
Moving on up.
Moving on. Nope. Down. Down.
Well, in the world, that's pretty
Started
good.
with a 5 last week. So.
There's a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Tina Crenshaw, who is my favorite podcaster so far.
Yeah.
Episode 3, she is now at the top of the list. She really appreciates the HD video that we
Yeah,
take.
sure do.
Say hi, Tina.
Hello.
What's your favorite color?
Pink.
Yuck. All right. And then we have...
Rude.
It didn't
Yuck.
matter what color you said.
I was going to say, where you
Yuck.
say yuck no
Premeditated. And then next to us is Chad Franks, who kind of is a fill-in, last-minute fill-in, but we really appreciate him sitting here. We have 4 mics, so I wanted to fill all 4.
I'm just a fill-in.
You're filling.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
going
it's
to say
Chad
nothing.
and Christina.
Second choice.
We'll call you. You're actually a pretty good-looking Christina. If we could have chosen
Whoa,
anyone,
whoa,
I'm
whoa.
glad we chose you.
I'm out. I
Too
gotta
far,
go.
too far.
So, Chad,
Sorry, I got to take this.
Chad, you live in our town then, Waterford? Or you live in Burlington?
I live in my town, Waterford.
Yeah, our town. I said
Oh,
our town.
Okay, I live in your town.
Yeah. Did I say my town?
You said our town.
Chad, I know where you live.
Most people do. If you
Yeah.
had to go through the detour,
Yeah.
everybody knows where I live.
Or you need to go to the school bus station.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't know, if you watch this on our video cast, we're at my house right now because I didn't feel like setting all the stuff up at the gym again and then tearing it down. And we're running a little late because we ate a bunch of food.
Because I was hungry.
And we
I was
only
hungry.
have
You might see kids and dogs running behind us.
52 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so
52 minutes.
good reminder. So if you had to, here's my question. Okay. I haven't really thought about a good question like last time, but if you had to drive one vehicle for the rest of your life, I've been thinking about this because I want to buy a new car, truck,
Sure.
something. If you had to drive one vehicle for the rest of your life, and and you had to live in this state, you can't say I'm going to drive this vehicle and live in Hawaii. You have to live where we're at right now. What vehicle would you pick to drive? Anybody want to go first?
Well, you're talking
Me?
to.
Oh, you were looking at me. I thought I was going
No.
first.
I mean-
So, yeah.
Anybody?
I'll go first.
Okay.
1972 Chevy Blazer factory
Oh.
engine, 350,
You've thought about this.
33-inch tires.
Lifted.
He's got
lifted.
one in the garage.
Yep. I wish. So,
That's like a good.
I've had them in the garage.
That's a good vehicle. That's
Yep.
like.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Easy.
That's like, hey.
Even Tina probably could have told you that. So.
You knew it right away.
Yep.
I knew the answer.
You did. Do you have your vehicle that you want to drive forever?
My favorite car that I have owned is my Jeep, my Wrangler.
You like the Jeep Wrangler? That's a good vehicle too. I've drove those. I've never owned one.
Don't bring it up her favor on a sore subject because I took it from her
Took my
because I needed to
favorite
make a
one away.
number.
Jeez, Dave.
He's mean to me. It's fine.
What
Yeah.
color was it?
It was red.
Black wheels.
All right, Chad.
Lifted.
It wasn't lifted.
So
I've
we
never-
have a 1988. You're specific on the date.
72.
72.
1972 Chevy Blazer.
And then you have a year that you have to have, or no? You just want a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
Those new ones are pretty hot.
Yeah,
We'll see.
and I would say the same thing actually.
You like
A
them.
four-door Jeep.
You want a 4-door?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really a Jeep Wrangler when it has 4 doors, just so you know. That's
Yes,
something
it is.
else.
Yeah.
It's a Wrangler.
I call it what I want.
Unlimited.
If
A
I'm
Jeep
making the
Wrangler.
payments.
I don't know what
No.
you call it, but it's called a
True
Wrangler.
Wrangler is
It's
2-door.
actually a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.
Yeah, but a true Jeep Wrangler is
Is a
2-door.
two-door.
Yeah.
I
liked
call it
my-
what I want if I'm making the payments.
Yes. I liked my 2-door Wrangler. I liked the top was easier to take on and off, but
You would
It's-
rather have a 4-door now?
it's much more stable if you're driving it every day in a 4-door.
I just know there used to be like this big internet debate on
Yeah.
the
used to be,
4-door.
yeah.
It's like stupid, and 2-doors where it's at.
4-door stupid.
It's like manual transmissions.
I'll remember that. You can't ride in my Jeep. If I
Right.
I
I'll just beep as I
remember
drive
you
by.
said it was stupid. You
I-
can't ride in it.
I have like 2 vehicles. I'm like distraught on this because I didn't think this question through, and I've been thinking. So I'm gonna give you my final answer, then I'll tell you what the other one would have been. I think I would drive an A8 Audi,
Nice.
fully loaded, leather
Nice.
seats, heated, everything. I would want luxury for as long as I could till everything broke on it.
I drive an A4,
Yeah, those
but
are great.
it's like 2006 or something.
They're good cars. You just got to change the timing chains in them. But
Don't say that. I haven't done it yet.
90,000. You need to get that done. So that would be my number 1 pick because that's kind of like an all around thing. You look good driving it. It's still good in the winter. Put your skis in there.
This is America, baby. Got to drive America.
I know, but that would be a good car. I don't think I'll ever buy
Especially
it.
if you're going to drive a Chevrolet product,
I would never.
because somebody in this podcast works for Chevrolet.
I won't tell you my feelings on American cars right now, but
Yeah.
they're
I'm
not
with
the
you.
greatest. So my second would probably be a Chevy HD diesel truck with a chip.
Ram 2500.
I like those Allison.
I'm a Dodge guy.
Remember the somebody
those
works for Chevy that just said that.
I know.
on his
It is.
cover?
It is forever recorded.
I like those. I like
gonna be
Dodges,
on
but
the
I
internet, you
do.
can't
I do
take
like
it
that
back.
Allison transmission
Yeah.
and stuff. So, anyways,
Nice.
okay. So I've been walking around the gym, been hanging out, talking with people, been watching people work out quite often. Believe it or not, even though I have the RBF face, or what do you call that?
It's RBF.
Yeah.
You do
You
have
had
that.
it.
I have it quite often, especially lately, like because I've been stressed out with stuff like work and stuff. But I've been watching people. I pay attention, and I've been watching, and I don't want to call anybody out or anything like that. But I think a lot of people have never realized that how much they look to the left or right in the gym, and maybe even transferable outside of the gym. Like I learned a long time ago that it doesn't matter what Chad's doing next to me, or how strong Chad is, or I'm just picking on you because I can right now.
You can.
But, it doesn't matter what Chad is doing. I need to stay focused kind of like in my lane. So to define what we're going to talk about is our lane is our journey. So that our journey is like focusing straight ahead on what affects us, what we can do to affect ourselves, and our path that we're on. And so that's our lane, staying in our lane. And so I've just noticed, and I just wanted to do open conversation. I have a couple of questions I'll pose while we go, but I just noticed that a lot of people have been, even outside of our gym, I see it all the time too, like people just don't want to recognize where they came from or where they're going. They're always worried about what somebody else is doing and how that affects them. And I think deep down inside, that's a huge mental game that we play. And I think it affects our happiness in the journey and our fitness and maybe other things. So I'll let that sit out there for a minute, and I'll just let you guys have your thoughts on that, and then I'll pose a couple questions. So
Yeah, well, I agree. Well, I think it's called whiteboard syndrome. That's what I call it. And not necessarily, but I think you see it in the gym sometimes. People get caught up on, either the person right next to them, they got to keep up, or or they see. I was watching. It was on the internet today. What was that thing I just showed you? It was kind of funny, but there was a quote about how. When you look at the leaderboard and the person you introduced to CrossFit is beating you, and the guy was all mad and pissed off, So I think you have to. I think people do get lost in that. People are doing things that they thought they should be doing at this point, and so they get they fall back, and I think you have to step back and go. I'm actually going through the exact same thing right now. I mean, you see. I mean, you saw it today. Like you told me, listen, Dave, you gotta squat to a box and stop doing heavy weights. And so I'm literally going through that now, where I just literally have stripped all the weight off of everything I do, and until I get the movement down, I'm not going to increase the weight. So,
Right, because and it's hard too, because
Yeah.
you look at like people making progressions and stuff like that, but you have to realize that I think for you, especially when we had our little talk, it's like if you want to make those progressions, you have to like stay focused on you and
Yeah.
how do you get there.
Yep.
And the way you get there would be taking a step back, getting even deeper to where you want to get in the
Yeah.
squat, so that you can progress later on forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like right now. I know I can squat 300 plus pounds
Yeah.
easy, but I can't squat 300 plus pounds to
Full depth.
full depth. So today
Right.
I squatted 135 pounds to
Full depth.
full depth.
Yeah.
So,
I watched. It was good.
Yeah.
Looked
so,
really
yeah,
good.
So
I was proud. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my day.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, yep. And that's a perfect example of not caring what the other person next to me was doing, because there was people doing heavy weights and just
Yeah.
doing, yeah.
What do you think on this? And I have some questions.
I think there's a lot of that right now. Especially with the open happening, and we think we should be able to do what somebody else does because we go to the gym at the same time. I think we don't recognize a lot of times the work that goes into it, and the staying after and working on some of those gymnastic movements, or coming in early and working on them, or coming in on Sunday, and we don't necessarily recognize the work that went into it. We don't necessarily acknowledge that we didn't put that work in.
Right.
I think I go to the gym and I think, man, why can't I do this yet? Why can other people do this? And then I think, yeah, I don't, I'm not willing to put the work in, and that's okay.
I don't know if you're not willing to. I mean, you
I
have
know
life and
Yeah, I think it's not the highest priority for me.
Right, I
I
mean-
have other priorities that I would rather spend the time on, and so I just have to sometimes I have to check myself and remind myself that I know I could do it if I put the time in, but I'm just
Right.
not willing to do that at this point.
you're not going to walk in the gym and say, "Hey, look, 100-pound dumbbell overhead carry. I'm going to try that."
Right.
You're like, "Hey, I'm probably more at 40 pounds or 50 pounds," and so that's where I'm at. It doesn't matter what Chad's doing. I got to do what I'm
Sometimes
going to
it's
do.
where I feel like I'm at today versus another day.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, you know what, 20 pounds is good.
Right.
So I think you got to stay. I think we get caught up in who's doing more, or who's finishing first, and not really paying attention to where we are at and where we need to be. Sometimes you need to take a step back, or some days you need to do a lighter weight even
Right.
though you don't want to, just because that's what you're feeling.
And we have a unique point of view here because, Chad, you've been doing this now with us for a month or two?
10 years.
10 years, bro.
Weeks.
If Chad was on video, you'd see if he flexes, he rips his sweatshirt.
That's why I wear a 3X. It's been beginning of January. So
Yeah, a couple months. Then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a unique perspective because you walked in and you got to see other people, like, where they were at. Was there a point in time where you walked in and been like, I need to do that? Or
Absolutely.
Or were you just like, I just need to do what I need to do?
No, and when you said the topic, it got me thinking. I feel like there's a fine line between being competitive and staying in your lane.
Right.
Because I'll find myself looking at someone else's board or whatever at home, or even at the gym, and trying to find someone that is, comparable to me.
Right.
That I can say, okay, in my competitiveness, am I staying
I want to kick his butt.
right?
Yeah.
Excuse me, but you do need to stay focused, and it is easy, personally, for me to put somebody on a pedestal and say, oh well, maybe they've been doing it for a year.
Right.
I want to be past them right now because I feel like I should be.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably not reality, it's just my competitive edge that I want to keep. But when you said looking to the right or to the left, I don't know. I know that's why you brought me here, but I don't know that I do that. maybe mentally I do it, but I don't think I physically shift my head.
Well, when I say that's metaphorically speaking, like
Right.
worrying about like you work out with Warren quite a bit. So, I mean, obviously you and Warren are going to be competitive against each other. I mean, it's just natural.
Yep.
So, but what I meant was like while you're working out, I mean, you're worrying about what Warren's doing or worrying about what Chad's doing. You know what I mean? Or on your way to the gym, are you worrying about what Warren's going to be doing or what he already did? I'm just picking on Warren right now.
Oh, I like
Warren.
to pick on Warren, so
Yeah,
that's
it's fine.
okay.
Who doesn't?
He
I
picks
enjoy
on
it.
me.
Who doesn't? Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm
that's what I
definitely
mean.
thinking about myself. But what I struggle with the most is, I did CrossFit, I don't know, 4 years ago, probably for 3 or 4 weeks at a different gym. But what I struggle with is where do I start? I don't. If you don't have a benchmark, like,
Right.
I used to lift 750 pounds, now I can do whatever.
3XL shirt. Yep. Mhm.
Right, that's where I struggle.
Right.
So I think about myself more than anything, and where I want to be in 5 years at 50.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really good point, though, that there's a fine line between competition, because competitiveness is good, right?
Right.
Like it pushes you, it challenges you. When it gets to a point where you're seeing somebody else accomplish something and it's making you feel bad about yourself, then it's where it crosses that line, and you should be
Yeah.
focusing on your own journey.
Well, and the other thing he said too is he actually uses the whiteboard for what it's supposed to be at. He uses it, that's the whiteboard ideally is not, I have to do whatever at no sacrifice to beat this person, but it is designed to be like, hey, this is the person I know that we're similar. Is my pace the same as that? So am I on track? That's exactly what the whiteboard is intended to be for. It's not,
Yeah.
unless it is an in-house competition or not, a competition. It is supposed to be. That's like the ideal use for the whiteboard is to just say, hey, yep, I did pretty close to what my, my yin to my yang was, or whatever.
Right.
So,
Sure.
So that's good.
I'll ask a question, but I think that the best, most satisfying thing when you learn to not ask the question what so and so did, or go in and say I have to do this weight because so and so did this weight. I think the most gratifying part is when you learn how to stay in your lane, and your focus is on what you can do, but also that you can look back in your lane too and see where you came from.
Yep.
I think that's really important. The longer you do things in the life, I used to have a motto that the only things that hold you back in life are the things you hold on to. So you have to let go of a lot of things so you can move forward. But there's also this thing that I've learned as I'm getting older too. And that's what kept me progressing to even what I'm doing today, is like all the stuff that you learned and was bad, you just got to let go of it and like just keep moving yourself forward and progressing forward. But now that I'm getting older and I'm watching kids and I'm watching people learn new things, and people just got their first muscle ups, and all this stuff is happening. It's good to reflect sometimes on where you came from in your own lane.
Yep.
Like I came from very, very unhealthy lifestyle, like horrible. Like I remember the first time I walked into a CrossFit box, the lady, she was like, "You're gonna do CrossFit?" I go, "No, my wife is. I'm gonna go home and eat a large pizza." That's what I told her. She's like, "Have fun with that." You know what I did? I went home and I ate a whole large pizza by myself while my wife was working out for the first time in CrossFit. I mean, I came from a point of like, I just didn't care about what anybody thought or anything like this. And now I look at where I'm at now. Yeah, I don't have like a six pack. I can't wear a XXX shirt because I'm all ripped like you, Chad. Right. But where I'm at now, am I happy with where I'm at? No, I'm not satisfied. I want more. But am I happy from where I came from to where I'm at? Heck yeah. And that makes me, and I'll open this up for conversation too, and I'll pose a question, but that makes me more focused on me. Is that selfish? I mean, you get what I'm saying though? I'm more focused on where I want to go than where Rich Froning is, or anybody else is that I compete against. I don't compete against Rich Froning, but one day.
You
You
kind
do
of
too.
do.
If he
Yeah.
trips
In
and
your mind,
falls,
you do.
if he trips and falls and breaks his leg, maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
But the people I
7
compete
minutes.
against all the time on a whiteboard outside of our own, it encourages me to like, I mean, I want to go do more things to make myself better now. So my question is that have you ever really took a deep look, and how does it make you feel to know where you came from in your lane and to where you're at now? Not to the future, but like, do you look back in your lane and see where? I'll talk to Dave first because I keep looking at him. He's just a good-looking guy, so I keep looking at him. But do you ever look back in your lane? And see?
I think I look back all the time. I mean, matter of fact, it's kind of ironic. I keep I have a shirt in my closet from when I was a lot bigger at one point, like, and I keep
last
that
month. No, I'm sure.
I was actually probably smaller last month.
Uh-oh.
But I'm not
happened.
and I'm not a small
I heard
guy.
it.
Oh,
We're fine.
yeah, I'm not a small guy as it is, but I mean, I was a bigger guy. I mean, big guy, and I keep that shirt because every time I got to refocus, and I'm not perfect at it, but yeah, I definitely look back all the time, and you use it as benchmarks too to see. I mean, you got to look back to see where I started and what I used to do. Like today, I was like today's workout, for example, I was like, 70 calories on the rower. I was like, that's gonna suck. I got off the rower and I was like, that was easy.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, that was easy. So. Even when I restarted CrossFit, I was like, 70 calories, no way, I'm skipping.
What makes it so hard for you to keep focused on you? Like, if there's somebody out there listening right now that's like kind of understanding, but they're like, I just can't stop thinking about what Christina can do or what Tiffany can do or what so-and-so can do. And what helps you like stay there?
Tina, so she does.
The humbler.
No, not even that. No, but I mean, honestly, you have to. It's good to have a partner that will listen to you, but not put up with your BS too, and be like, yeah,
right.
Like I'm very hard headed, and she has a tendency to be like, hey, you got to do this, but I think you have. So, and honestly, you have to look yourself in the mirror and start asking yourself honest questions. And you're not gonna like most people. You're not gonna like the answer to that question.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So if you ask yourself an honest question that you know is a tough answer, and you're like, oh, that answer's okay, that wasn't the real answer.
Right.
So.
What about you, Tina? Do you reflect back and what keeps you in your lane?
I do. I think you need to and celebrate. Yes, it is.
Well,
you need to celebrate where you came from. I was just having a conversation this week about this last workout where a lot of people got their first pull up and their first muscle up, and I got my first pull up in the open.
Right.
I think it was 4 years ago.
I was there in spirit.
You were. But I remember looking back and saying, 6 months ago I couldn't do a pull up. In the open I got 7.
Nice.
7.
Nice.
And 6 months after that I did 70 in a workout, and just really understand, like, I still can't do chest to bar, I still can't do those things, but really looking back and realizing where you started and where you are now he's huge. And I think that's the danger of comparing yourself to others, is you don't celebrate the progress that you've made, and it starts making you feel bad instead of feeling good about what you've done.
Oh yeah. Huge. Yes.
And that's when I think you start to lose kind of your motivation or your drive or your focus, as you feel like, I'm not making as much progress as somebody else, instead of recognizing the progress that you've made. And
that's exactly the
seriously,
point. You hit the point. That's it. Yeah.
If you look at your own progress really seriously, you will find you made huge progress from where you started.
You almost
to where
find
you
like
are.
the happiness, like the happy place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll give you the perfect example from a coach's perspective. I love the open because you see a lot of people do things for the first time. Your first time muscle up, your first time pull up, anything. You do a PR, but also it's some of the worst times, because you see athletes that they saw somebody else, instead of celebrating, because they're not focused in their own lane, they get so discouraged because somebody got it their first time and they missed it. They didn't get it. And
right.
and that you have to be, but hey, a lot of times just because you missed it, you were still a lot closer than you were before you got to that point right there. You're still at that point in the progress. And you see that where they're not happy or they're mad that somebody, I've even seen it, not recent, but like in the past, I've seen it where somebody got mad because somebody got it first and they didn't.
Yeah.
That's tough as a coach.
It's not only tough as a coach, tough as an athlete to see somebody do something for the first time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I want that so bad. And then you're thinking about them all the time.
Yeah. How come they got it and I didn't do it?
I think it brings bad vibes. But let's finish. I'm going to get into that bad vibe thing. But how much time do I have? Good. We're doing good. But let's finish. What keeps you, Tina, in your lane? Like,
I don't think I don't really struggle with that
you don't?
a whole lot. Like, I'm pretty focused on myself and what I want to do.
You're so selfish.
I'm somebody that definitely knows in my head where I'm going and knows what I want to do. And so even at work, like we talked about outside of the gym, at work, I'm the same way. Like, I know where I'm going. I know I'm going to get there. I know how I'm going to get there. And I'm not worried about what anybody else is doing or even what's going on around me as much as I am focused on where I'm going. And so I think I just naturally do that. I sometimes get like in my head, oh, I should be able to do this. I've been doing this a long time. I should be able to do chest to bar, and people that have started after me can do them. But really, I go back to I'm comfortable understanding that I know what the work I'd have to put in to do it, and I'm
going to start making
I'm
a
good
new
with
word.
that.
Chest bars. There's a reoccurring theme here.
Yeah. Chest to bar.
Chest to bar is the one I could kind of.
That is
do
her
them.
Achilles
That's
heel,
my
yeah.
newest. That's my newest. Like, I'm working towards.
This is like her theme, so I'm going to be like, all right, Tina, jump up there. Let's
But
start
I
tipping
do-
for chest to bars.
But I do use the whiteboard like David was talking about. I know people that are like going to be finish a little bit ahead of me, and I look to them to see where I should shoot for.
Right.
And I use that so I
Totally
know,
fine.
like, if I look in the morning at who went in the morning and what their score was, I know where I should be close to. And that's something for me to shoot for so that it keeps me from slacking in the workout. Some days I
Hold you
just choose to
accountable.
slack. Some days that holds me accountable to staying at a pace that I should be at, that
That's
I know
obtainable.
I should be at. Yeah.
Chad, have you ever like, you could take this outside of CrossFit too. I mean, there's so much stuff.
Well, I'm going to keep it in CrossFit right now because I think the worst thing that you could possibly do is not share your past and where you've been.
True.
Because when Brenda and I both started, we're walking in and we're seeing all these people that are athletes, whether we don't know if they've been there a week or they've been there 6 years. We have no idea. We just met these people for the first time. And so you put them all of them on a pedestal, everybody that you meet, because you're like, oh, I like this CrossFit. I want to achieve these goals, and these are my people that I'm looking to not just coaches, but even people, that working out in class with you. But when people start sharing their past, that encourages the new people, because you kind of forget that maybe Dave started out heavier than he was. I didn't know that until you just said that before. Christina, she showed us a couple videos of her when she first started and where she is now, and those are so encouraging, because it's like, okay, it's not so bad. I'm not,
Right.
I'm not that far off of where I should be, 3 months, 4 months in. But
not at all.
if it's like, if you guys didn't share those with, especially the new people coming in, that's a huge disservice. So even though we want to keep the past in the past, and that's why it's behind us, it's really good, I think, to reflect on it and use it as a tool to encourage people that are coming in to say, hey, yes, I'm Joel and I can bench 400 pounds on accident, but
I wish.
No, you told me you did that today.
Squat.
Don't say you
Squat.
would.
Squatted.
Okay,
400
squat.
pounds.
Sorry,
I hit
I said
410
bench.
on accident
Sorry.
yesterday because I
My
can't
bad.
count. I looked at it and went, oh, that's a lot more than I was trying to do.
But to know that wasn't just last week that you started out, squatting 100 pounds. So it makes a difference to the new people to express where you came from.
Yeah.
It's encouragement to us
I
anyway.
remember my first time squatting in a CrossFit class. I put 225 on, and I went down. I went, oh.
Now what?
How do you drop this bar?
I'm not going back
Time
up.
out. There's no pause button. I have to go back up. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also think that it's devastating to people when they jump outside their lane.
Oh yeah.
I see it all the time. Like the devastation and the discouragement that they see in their faces because they're not getting the chest to bar pull up or they're not progressing as fast as they should do. Here's the craziest thing that if you get every new member to walk through the door to understand that this is more than just losing weight 10 pounds before the wedding in 3 months. You know what I mean? Like some people come in and they don't last that long. And I think it's because they have this big like vision of losing all this weight or looking this way or being this strong. And then they do it for 2 or 3 weeks and they realize that, wow, this is a lot of work and it's not going to happen by the end of the month.
That's a society thing. I mean,
There's
we constantly get pumped with, there's a 10-day weight loss challenge,
Right.
and all you got to take is these pills, and you'll be shredded by next week.
And it's just crazy that, and I think it's discouraging when people look around because they come in with that mentality. And even some people that are probably still working out with us right now have this mentality that it should be happening faster than it should. And they're looking at Dave's results or they're looking at so-and-so's results. And we have these stories, but they don't realize that our journey has been 5 years long.
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah.
that
That
5
makes a
years,
difference.
we've been looking left and we've been looking right and we've jumped out and we've been discouraged and we've quit CrossFit and we've come back to CrossFit and we've done this and done all this stuff. But you learn over time that, you know, that you can't do that. So,
That you haven't eaten macros from day one.
yeah, no, you have not eaten macros from day one. And so it's just crazy to see the devastation of people when they realize that they have to they can't jump outside their lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I think another thing too is when a lot of times we see these, as a coach, you the people that come into class at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, in the morning, whatever, and they come into class, they get there right before the class starts.
Oh, you're a 5 a.m. coach now, by the way.
Yeah, I am.
Good job.
Yeah. So, but the people that come in and they come in there and get right when the class starts and right when the class, and they have to leave. And because life, that's the way it is sometimes.
Right.
They get discouraged because they see people that started at the same time, but they don't see that other side of the coin where those people are doing the extra things. If you think about this, if you work 10 minutes before class and you work 10 minutes after class and you go to class 3 times a week, that's an hour extra of work.
Hour extra, right there.
Yeah, and it's an hour that you're usually working on one specific skill set. Those athletes that want the muscle ups or those athletes that just want the pull ups. I mean, the perfect example is, and I know we're not calling people out, but this is a positive call, is Candy. She every day after class, her one goal is to pull up, and every day she is in there. I mean,
Trying.
people don't see that. She's working at it. She kips every single day until
Right.
she gets that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We could call a couple other people out too, but yeah, Candy's huge.
Yeah.
She wants it, she desires it, and it's fun to watch too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, from the first time, I think I was there. I think it literally was the first time she jumped up on that pull-up bar to what she does now.
Right.
And it's amazing. Like it's crazy. So
Do you know that one of our athletes? Gosh, I wish I promised Christina I would stop calling people out.
I think we should call people out for positive things.
I mean,
yeah,
Demi, when she started in her garage, she couldn't even
yeah.
hold on to a pull-up bar.
yeah,
Literally, Demi, I know you're going to listen to this. You would jump up on the pull-up bar and your hands would slip off. And you were like, I can't do this. And now, you know what I mean? Now she's in the same spot. She's doing toe-to bar work, knee to elbow. She's holding on the the pull-up bars. And so, I mean, the progression's there. But that took her focusing on her, though.
yeah.
Right. And so I've seen the devastation jumping out. Here's another good one is when people walk into the gym and the first thing they want to talk about is what somebody else was doing.
Yeah. What did so and so do today?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That blows my mind. And I think I maybe Chad. This is a big maybe. Maybe I used to do that.
You used to. You just did it the other day.
You knew somebody that did that one
I
time.
knew somebody that did that one. That knew
Asking
somebody
for a
that
friend.
did that one time.
I'm gonna go back to seeing Brad, his score on one of the open workouts,
Yeah.
and you happen to get one more rep than he did.
Yeah.
Right.
That was awesome. That was not an accident.
That's the pot. Good.
But there's like people come in every day, and it's hard for you as a coach to be like, I could say it on a podcast because people aren't standing in front of me, but it's hard as a coach to say, hey, worry about you.
Yep.
Make this workout about what you can do, and work as hard as you can work, and let everything else fall in place.
Yep. And the other thing as a coach and as an owner, when you see that stuff too, it's a very fine line for that. Like you said, like Tina said, it's a very fine line from being motivational
And
to being
discouraging.
detrimental.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a very fine line because sometimes you could look at it and be like, okay, like there's two athletes in the gym that we're like the three of us are almost at the exact same level.
Right.
And so I always look to see what they do, but I don't care what they did. I just want to go, okay, I know I should finish around this. I know this workout should take me this long. Or so we also scale it. A lot of times we scale at the same time. So I know that, okay, I was thinking I should go a little lighter, but I know he went heavier. So
But
I'm
there's
going heavier.
But there's like a line
Yeah.
that you know that like people are crossing though. There's people like what you're talking about that do
Yep.
that, and that's totally legit and fine. But there's also people that go to gyms and boxes all over and are worried about not beating that person.
Yep.
And they might leave the gym mad or upset because they didn't win.
Well, even worse.
That's being way outside of your lane.
Yeah. Even worse.
You can't control them.
They do things detrimental to their workout to finish in front of another person.
It happens all the time.
Shorter rep. Don't do this. Don't
Right.
do the weight. Things like that. Yeah.
They don't want to.
And it doesn't. You can't. You got to say it happen. It happens in our gym sometimes.
Oh
too.
man, it
Yeah.
probably. I mean, that's losing fitness over the desire to
Yeah.
win.
So
Not
Well,
I shorted reps before. I won't lie to you guys.
I've shorted
I have
reps.
shorted reps before. I've shorted reps for two reasons. The biggest reason is because they hurt so bad I didn't want to do them anymore. The second biggest reason is that I don't like losing to Christina.
yeah, I short reps just because I have CrossFit math. I just can't count one at a time.
Whenever,
my gosh.
whenever Christina says, "What was your time?" I say, "What was your time?"
Yeah.
And I'm always 1 second faster than her. Just kidding. That's a lie. It's permanently on podcast day, but it happens a lot. I mean, you guys. I mean, it's hard because
I have the worst workout brain. Like I
You
cannot
can't count. No,
Oh,
you
my wife is horrible. Whenever I do partner ones, I have to count
Yeah,
every
she
time.
can't
She cannot count.
Ask
If
Debbie
you're
or
on
Jenny.
Tina's team, count for her.
Ask Debbie or Jenny.
it's really bad.
Yeah.
This is encouraging to
It's
me because
bad. It's
I
really
have the
bad.
same thing. I'm
Mom?
like, wait, was that 8 or 9?
I will be in my
It's
head,
9.
go
It's fine.
8, and then come back up and say, wait, was that 8? Or was that
that
7?
Yep.
The only thing
Yeah.
worse than Common Core math is CrossFit math, right? That's the
I won't
Well,
say
and then
who
they
this
got to
was.
throw in the 73% of what you're.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I won't say who this was, but yesterday, you know who you are if you're out there listening. They were doing jump ropes, and I asked them, "What number are you on?" They were jumping rope for an exorbitant amount. I mean, forever. I'm like, "What number are you on?" He was like, "She was like, that person was like 100."
he was like, she was like,
It may have been a he. I don't know.
They were like, "I'm on 130," and I'm like, "You've been jumping rope for a long time." So I started counting because like, no way. It's been like 20 minutes. You've been jumping the same rope for 200 single unders. So I started counting. I'm like, "What number are you at?" And they're like, 140. I'm like, "You're at 192." I'm
Wow.
like, "You're almost done. Get it done." I know this thing probably just cut out a little
Oh.
bit. The cord
I only
there.
hear you in one side.
So
of my
I was
mouth.
like, so I counted the next round, all 200 for the person so they can.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Probably jumped the rope about 400 times, I'm assuming, by the offness of the count, but it was funny.
I jumped the rope a lot yesterday.
It's hard.
But
Especially
yeah, it
those long jump ropes.
Oh, man.
I'll be like 7, 8, 9. Wait, am I on 60 or 70?
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much more I can say it, and you guys can do some closing thoughts here. Or like 40 minutes in, so we're good. But closing thoughts on this for me, and I'll finish up at the end. But I think we really need to, as coaches and as like leaders in the gym and stuff, is help people and guide them to their journey. And I hope this helps in some way, shape, or form. That it's not about what somebody can lift, the other person can lift. It's not about that. I wanted to talk about one more thing too. In closing, I want to talk about the October Open. Don't let me forget that. We have like 10 minutes before I get. But the other thing I want to talk about too is I wanted to pose the question, and this might lead up into another podcast. But with
There's
some
a lot
thoughts
of
on
other
this.
things.
Well, I have so much stuff to talk about and not a lot of time to do it because we're under
Joel's a
pressure.
big-
52 seconds, 52 minutes is really stressing him out.
I'm stressed out because that's all the SD card will hold right now. Cut it out.
Get a spare.
What about this? We had another conversation this last week, and it was about being strong
Yes.
or being fit.
Yes.
And that's kind of goes along with the lane thing.
Yes.
That's the one thing I was missing. I should have wrote that down, but I
Yes.
wanted to talk about that
We had a deep conversation between being strong and being fit.
because there's a total difference of
Yes.
being strong and being fit. I mean, it's just huge.
And I'll use myself as an example because of the longest time I felt that if I was the strongest guy in the gym, I was fit. And I could throw weights up over my head, I could deadlift, I could squat, but I was not fit at all. And that's the whole concept of CrossFit, is to be fit.
Right.
And the thing about it is, if you're strong, you can deadlift 500 pounds. You can push press 300 pounds.
Dang
You
straight.
can be strong, but
On accident.
you can be strong, but that does not mean you are fit.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is you cannot be fit without being strong.
Right.
And that's
Define
the thing.
fit.
Fit, and
Can
that's
you
the
give
thing.
me a definition of fit?
Yeah, definition of fit is you can do the overall functionality of CrossFit, every functionality of CrossFit. So the 9 or core movements, the ability to run when you need to run, jump when you need to jump, lift when you need to lift, and do it functionally and efficiently over a long period of time.
But take CrossFit out of the scenario.
Sure.
Just
carrying large loads long distance.
Yeah, carrying large loads long
fast times.
distance.
For fast
Okay.
times.
Yeah.
because
Everything's high.
my son and I have this conversation daily. He's my middle son. He goes to another gym where you get a key and you just go do your own thing. And we're always talking about that.
9
Because
minutes,
I'm
48 seconds, just so you know.
what? No. I'll speed talk. Him and I are always talking about that, and I struggle sometimes to get my point across, and that's I'm always challenging him. Jesse, come to the gym with me. I'm 45, you're 24. I know that I will surpass you in this, not because I'm boasting, just because I know that the work that we do is more beneficial and well-rounded than just going and lifting, isolating a muscle. Now, he does cardio. I'm not. He's doing awesome for himself. But I feel like that's the age-old question. CrossFit or go to the gym, and what is the answer that I say to him that shows the difference?
There's no. Honestly, I don't think there's a right answer, because for him that might be his journey or the way he wants to go to make himself.
Sure.
If he looks in the mirror and is happy with himself, that journey's fine for him.
Absolutely.
But for the CrossFitter or for the person looking to do that,
We're not the end all be all
yeah,
of fitness. Of
No.
course,
And
we're going to crush those people when they come work out with us, because what we do, hey,
kitty cat.
we're a more rounded, like full rounded fitness, so that the best way to explain it is if we're going to do a fitness competition,
Right.
and we had, and I've said it before, that cat's going to knock look at him. He's going to knock something over. He's the coolest thing since Wonder Bread. So the best way I can explain it is, if you were going to do a competition, and we talk about this, you learned about this like in your CFL one, I think we talked about it, but
yeah,
like you had a power lifter, the guy that can deadlift the most weight in the whole entire world. Who's that guy right now? The mountain.
Bjorn.
Yeah,
the mountain.
The mountain
Bjorn
just
Jorgensen.
pulled like 1,100 pounds off the floor. Then you have the fastest marathon runner in the world. Just runs marathon after marathon. He can run a marathon in like less than whatever hour that anybody else can. And then you have a CrossFitter, and you put them all in the same competition. Right. The first workout is deadlift. Right. We're gonna deadlift. The heaviest weight wins. Of course, the mountain's gonna win. He's probably gonna do his warm up weight and win.
Right.
And then the guy that's going to go do the marathon, he's going to pick the bar up. He's barely going to be able to pull 200 pounds because he doesn't strength train. He just runs all the time. The CrossFitter is going to grab the bar and pull, if he's good, 500 and some pounds. He's going to take second place. Then the second competition, they're going to go out and they're going to run half marathon. The marathon runner crushes it. Just beats everybody by an hour, right? Third place, the guy that can deadlift 1,000 pounds but can't run a mile.
He was winning he was winning when they hit the gun.
They hit the gun. The guy goes, oh, heart attack. Can't run. Second place. Who wins? CrossFitter.
Yeah.
Right? He's good. He's not great, but he's good. He can do it. And then the third workout is they're going to do Fran for time. 21:59 pull-ups and thrusters. No more thrusters, God. But who's going to win the thrusters pull-ups? It's not going to be the deadlift guy, and it's certainly not going to be the other guy. The CrossFitter is going to win. So overall, the CrossFitter is going to be the fitter guy.
Sure.
Overall fitness, and that's what we do as CrossFit is we're measurable fitness. I can't tell you how fit a bodybuilder is because they look fit. Look at me. I look fat in t-shirts and stuff. I don't look fit. You know what I mean? I go to competitions and people take off their shirts, and I'm like, what? I can't believe I'm even competing against this guy. And in local competitions, a lot of the times I crush a lot of people that are my age, in my age group. I crush them. And I don't say that detrimentally, like I'm better than anybody, but I don't look the part of a bodybuilder, but I'm going to probably beat them in a lot of things when it comes to fitness.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying? So overall being measurable in fitness, and that's the answer. Do you want to look good? Then you're fit. You know what I mean? If you want to feel good, then you're fit. But if you want to be fit in the true aspect of fitness sense, you need to be strong, you need to be fast, you need to have cardio, you need to have that well-roundedness.
Yep.
And that's what we were coming at when we were talking about being in like the lane and being strong or being fit. And there's some people that think that strength in CrossFit is fit. It's not, though. There's no point, and I'll say this and I'll let you guys talk, but there's no point, I don't think, of a guy that can come in and deadlift 500 pounds, but he has a 12-minute Fran time. What do you need to work on? Your cardio. You need to work on the fitness side, the other side. Just because you can deadlift 500 pounds and you have you should deadlift 500 pounds and have at least a 4-minute Fran time or a 3-minute Fran time. And that's the difference.
Yeah, the difference is the willingness to work on your weaknesses. There's as an athlete, you got to come in and you got to go, hey, there's an athlete, that you read the workout and you're like, oh, I'm not going because I don't like that movement. Chances are that's the one you need the most work on.
Right.
Well, and my wife is the best person for me in this because she keeps me grounded. Her answer is always, I'm still going. I showed up.
Right.
And
sometimes showing up is the win.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in life. You talk about employees and things like that. If they can show up every day, they're going to have a job because they're light years ahead of everybody else that doesn't show up every day.
Yeah, but I don't know. And I'll agree to disagree with you because I think that, and especially since I become a coach, that a lot of times that's almost like the whiteboard syndrome. Their philosophy is, hey, I showed up.
Yes.
But then you don't give 100% when you're there because you're like, your win was at the door. If your win is, hey, I showed up, great. That's your win. Now it's time to reset your goal as soon as you walk through that door.
Right.
So
But I think
sometimes when you show up, that is a win. But if you got to be, it's another fine line. If hey, I showed up. So, and I'm not, because I've seen your wife. She does everything that she can do. So for her to just say she shows up, she's cutting herself short on that point right there.
Well,
but there are athletes that, hey, I showed up.
But I think it depends on what your goals are. If your goals are just to be healthy and to be there, then great. If you're not trying to push yourself to be stronger, or you don't care if you lift 100, 200 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But I think it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to be there and be healthy, then great.
I might be the tiebreaker
Do that,
on
but
this.
be okay with that.
Yeah.
Be okay with with what your goals are and what you're trying to do.
So there's two sides. There's like what you're talking about, right? To that point. Like, yeah, you showed up. That's great. Your goal is to show up. Your goal is this. The other side is when you're coaching somebody that just shows up, it's like we want to get the most out of your show up as we can.
Yep.
So let's take the show up and let's push you and let's set your goal while you're here to the throw up.
Yeah.
Let's
Right.
show up the throw. You know what I mean?
And sometimes
Let's
just to
do
show
it.
up is distracting to the rest of the class. So
Well, I mean,
you gotta
from a
be careful.
coach's
Yeah.
standpoint, not
Yeah.
all the time, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
sometimes
sometimes,
it
yeah.
could be. But there's two different sides to it. I agree with Dave a little bit, and I agree with you guys a little bit that if your goal is to show up, great. I'm happy. I'm always happy people show up. This is great. But when you show up, expect to get coached and pushed.
And like
Expect
you
it.
said, Dave, there's some people that hide behind that. I showed
Yeah.
up, and then they get there and they're like, "Well, I can wipe my hands. I at least just showed up."
Yeah.
But my wife is inspiration to me. She shows up and she's done way more than I
Yeah.
ever thought she would ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only 3 or 4 months in. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
imagine,
Yeah.
She's
what
doing
it's going to
great.
be a year, 2 years down the road. Because we have different philosophies that way too. Because I've had that conversation with her. She'll say, "Yeah, I'm at least I'm still going." And in my head, I'm like, for me, I can't say that. I got to say, no, I'm doing this now and I'm doing this now. It's
Right.
just a different way that we look at the
Yeah.
thing. We're both doing the same end result. We just look at it differently in our lives and where we are. And Joe's telling me to shut up.
No, you can keep going. I'm going to just stop the video.
Oh, okay.
So all
See
you
ya.
YouTube watchers, you won't hear the rest unless you go to the podcast. See you guys later.
Oh, that's a good segue to get him to come to the podcast. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. If you're tuning back in from the video, I think those are good points. And I think they all go along with, everybody's journey
Yeah.
to bring it back and close
Sure.
and bring it back in. I mean, you don't have to close up, but that's your journey. If your journey's showing up, good for you. We're happy for you. We're going to push you till you throw up. I like that. You're going to show up. You better get ready to throw up.
Yeah.
We should paint that on the wall.
I think
That'll get
that's
new people in.
discouragement
Get a
to
tattoo
some
with that
people.
on there.
I don't know, but-
You don't like that? I'm going to
No,
carve
I-
that into my new cabinet.
All right, there you go.
You never heard that? Yeah, you must be new. You haven't done extra CrossFit till you thrown up. I mean, that's actually, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
That's true. I don't know.
I puked one time. It was in the front bushes.
I threw up one time at CrossFit, but it wasn't because of CrossFit. It was because I was just sick. So I shouldn't have been there in the first place.
I won't tell you why I threw up, but it was a little bit of CrossFit. And yeah, we're not in video. Yeah, there might have been that happening. You'll have to
Yeah.
read into that, but yep, stay true to yourself, man. That's my closing thought. Stay true to yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. The best thing that's ever happened to me in probably the last year and a half is I'm not competitive with anybody but myself. When I don't feel like doing something, I'm gonna make myself do it because I want to beat my inward like thought of failing.
Yeah.
I want to go further than what I think I can. So that's helped me. I don't compete with anybody at our gym. I always joke around with Christina, but I'm more of a supporter of her probably than a competitor of hers. Like I've went into total support mode for this open because my open's pretty much over because of my shoulder. So whatever I can do to help her get further is great. So, but I don't want to compete with anybody. I want to compete with myself. That's what I've learned in 5 years is it's all about me and what I can do, where I've came from and where I want to go. You have any closing?
Yeah, just mine is just don't overfocus. So, celebrate every little victory. So if you go in there and think, I got to fix this, I got to fix my pull-ups, I got to fix my rope climbs, I got to fix my squats, and I got to fix my double unders. I'm maybe speaking from experience. So just take one at a time.
Dude,
and every time that
You got double unders.
Oh, no, and I got my rope climbs.
Yeah.
So,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So, turn around and say, hey, just focus on one of those and every little victory. If you go from single, double, from single to one double in there, celebrate that and then celebrate that next one and just keep celebrating those little victories. And then when you nail it, pat yourself on the back and then move fucking forward.
People were upset with you because you got double unders before them.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I don't know.
Yeah, it only took me 5.5 years. So, but it was kind of funny. I got them and then
Yeah.
now
You
I'm
did
stuck.
them in the workout.
Now I'm
first
stuck with them.
time. Yeah, you're screwed, just so you know.
Yeah.
I would say
That should have been my opening question.
Yeah.
Single unders or double unders?
Yeah.
That'd be a big debate.
Oh,
I would say if you have goals, like David said, focus one at a time and do the work. If you want it, do the work.
Right.
Don't be upset that somebody else is getting there. Just do the work. I think of when I first started and all of the time I spent like at home just with a dowel practicing lift form
All
because
the
I couldn't
time.
get it. Because I wanted to figure it out and I wasn't getting it, and I would just take a dowel and sit in front of my mirror and figure it out until I got it. And so I think we don't see that work that people put in, and if you want something, it takes practice. It takes working on form. It takes focusing on the basics. If it means less weight, so you can get it down before you can move forward,
Yep.
be willing to do that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, be okay with where you're at, and that's fine too.
I would say, I touched on this before, be proud of your past and please share it. It's so empowering for new CrossFitters like myself to, again, see where people came from and know their struggles, that they struggled just like you did. And it's not, they're not looking at you like, why can't you do this yet? Come on, you're not, smack you in the head. What's going on? Why aren't you getting that form down? All knowing that it took them 6 years to get the form down, and now you just got it in a month. But just share that and be as open as you can.
Just so you know that we never had coaches that were as good as us. So that's why you guys get it so much faster.
there's a lot way better coaches out there than me.
Hey, I say fit fam for a reason all the time, because I truly look at this as a family, even though maybe some people don't want to be part of my family, and that's okay. But just like you have Christmas and Thanksgiving, and you see all those different relatives that you hardly ever see, they're all going through different walks of life, and they're all going through different things, and it's nice to come together and talk about them.
Yeah.
But just be open about it, and don't be ashamed of your failures.
So, as the greatest coach alive, I'll close everything up.
Oh, great, Joel.
Legend in your own mind.
Tell us.
I was going to give you number 2.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm in the top 6 now. What do we have? 6 coaches now.
7.
Still in the top 6.
7. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that good. I like to think that I'm the greatest. Christina says I'm the worst. David's probably the number 1 ranked coach at the gym. I think he's just more likable, maybe.
He's the tallest.
Tallest.
He's the most memorable.
Yeah.
Don't know how he got there.
Yeah. That's it. People come in. That dude's a coach?
I haven't been coached by anybody else but you guys and Chris, so I don't know the difference. So you're my top 3.
Just remember number 1. You made it, Dave. Top 3 out of 6.
I'm in the top 50%.
All right, guys. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say. Keep working hard. Keep going forward. And reach your goals. If you don't reach them tomorrow, maybe you'll get them next year.
Thanks for allowing me to fill the seat.
Just think, the Open comes again.
Oh, gosh.
In
I
October.
was going to close. I almost hit stop.
Oh, you
record.
didn't? Oh.
No, I didn't.
See?
It's
Oh,
still
yeah,
recording.
see? Just a reminder.
Top
If you didn't
3
get
right
it this
there.
time,
Yeah.
the Open comes back in
One more
October.
shot in October. Just for everybody out there that's listening to the very bitter end of this, yes, it is true. Unless CrossFit does something miraculous and cancels, we are having another CrossFit Open in October. And we're going to start preparing day 1.
Day 1.
Will be Saturday. Or no, Monday. Tuesday.
You got to go Tuesday because
Tuesday,
Monday's going to
because-
be redo day.
Who knows? Yeah. So day 1 is Tuesday. Start preparing for the Open. I don't even know what we're going to do because it's going to shorten our stuff up. But
Day
we'll
1
figure it
is
out.
every day for me.
I see that. You check in day 1.
And then Joel and Christina are on vacation next week, so
Boom.
welcome to Hell Week.
Yeah. He will no longer be in your top 3.
I'm only here till Wednesday, so.
Oh, yeah. He's leaving too.
Lucky you.
All right. Thank you guys.